Shifting gears, Charlie, I want to ask you about cryptocurrency, which you have been very negative about, calling it rat poison, and you hated the success of Bitcoin. But are you surprised that it's gotten even more mainstream since then?
Well, I'm not survived. If you stop to think about it, it's an ideal currency if you want to commit extortion or kidnapping or have a protection racket or something. Why should a civilized government want an ideal, untraceable technology to come into the payment system run by a bunch of people who want to get rich quick for doing very little for civilization? Of course I hate it. I don't think it's good that our country is going crazy over Bitcoin and its ilk. I think the communist Chinese were wiser than we were. They just banned it.
Any predictions on what's going to happen with crypto in the United States?
No. You let a bad genie out of a bottle, God knows what happens. I think it was a huge mistake to allow it at all. And the truth of the matter is our regulatory establishment, when they quit the government, they go out into this heavily promotional capitalism. And so it's very hard to get the government to make good, wise decisions about something like Bitcoin.
Charlie, last year, Robinhood, the new broker-dealer, issued a statement saying people are tired of the Warren Buffetts and Charlie Mungers of the world acting like they are the only oracles of investing. What's your response to that, and where do you stand on day trading apps like Robinhood?
Well, I think if I were the benign dictator of the world, I would make it unfeasible to make short-term gains in securities. Because we now mix up a legitimate activity, capital raising for enterprises that need money to do their capitalistic function, with a gambling casino where people come in and gamble. And those two functions, when they're mixed, as they are in a stock market or Bitcoin, create a speculative mess and a speculative orgy. And it's dangerous for the republic. It isn't good to have a lot of people trying to get easy money for sure, just from gambling. And the people that are preying on them, the salesmen and the market makers, they're not the most admirable people either. So, no, I don't like it at all. As I say, most old men don't, of course. And a lot of people think, well, and just Warren and Charlie don't understand it. Well, I think we do understand it, and we know it isn't good for our republic, and we can't do much about it, so we spend our time on the matters we can do something about. Well, Bitcoin the computer science that's behind Bitcoin is a great triumph of the human mind. That's what captivates a lot of these people. They've actually created a product that's hard to create more of, but not impossible. Now that is very peculiar, but they've managed to do it. So a lot of the computer science people love it just because it's such an extreme achievement of computer science. I, of course, have no interest in that because it's not my subject. And I see an artificial speculative medium that people are buying just because they think they can sell it to somebody else at a higher price, even though it inherently has no intrinsic value. And so I regard the whole business as antisocial, stupid, immoral.
Immoral?
Yes,
Why
immoral.
Is that? Why?
Why would you suppose you could make a lot of money trading freshly harvested baby brains. would you do it, or would you say that's immoral? You wouldn't trade them, would you? It's too awful a concept. Well, to me, Bitcoin is almost as bad. It's not having any desirable social purpose. We've got debit cards. It isn't like we don't have a payment system. We've got WeChat in China, incredibly efficient payment system. China doesn't need Bitcoin. And if you have a WeChat, why would you do it in a medium where the value changes enormously? Nobody in his right mind would want a payment system where the very thing you were using went up and down by 20% in a day. No, I regard the thing as a combination of dementia and immorality. And I think the people that are pushing it are a disgrace. There ought to be some things that are beneath you that you just don't do. And this is one. We did not need a gold certificate. I mean, a gold substitute like this. Bitcoin is worthless artificial gold, which, if it succeeded, would facilitate a lot of illicit activity. Now, that is not something I think the world needs. And the fact that it's clever computer science doesn't mean that it should be widely used and that respectable people should encourage other people to speculate in it. Bitcoin reminds me of Oscar Wilde's definition of fox hunting, the pursuit of the uneatable by the unspeakable.
Well, it sounds better than what I used before.
We asked earlier, Charlie, Andrew brought it up with Warren, but...
I think it's a scumball activity. Does that better serve you better?
Thank you. Yeah. We asked earlier about Goldman Sachs getting into the business of having a trading desk for Bitcoin. Berkshire Hathaway owns about $2.5 billion of Goldman Sachs. Does it bother you, or does it not surprise you?
Well, I don't expect every investment bank to agree with everything I think. They have a lot of animal spirits in investment banking.
5 years ago, right here in these chairs on Fox Business, you called it rat poison, but that was when it was about $150. Today it's $9,000. It had hit $19,000.
So it's more expensive rat poison.
But there are some people who were able to make some money. And we heard from people who are very passionate about this. And they said, oh, those guys are just trying to protect their old school investments in U.S. dollars. What do you say to that?
Well, I think these idiot booms do harm to a country. They frequently come to bad ends, and they cause economic consequences that are bad for the whole damn country. And so I like it when my country steps hard on idiot booms instead of fanning the flames. And if there's ever anything that needed stepping down on hard, it's Bitcoin.